I don't know about you guys, but I love chicken Lombardy. And this is my recipe, well, my version of this recipe. And I do not put cooking wine in this. My husband doesn't like it. We're going to start off with a couple of pats of butter, turn that stovetop eye on to medium, and I used one whole container of mushrooms. And you're just going to slice those. And what we're going to do is just cook those mushrooms for probably about 5 minutes or so. And go ahead and put those aside using the same skillet. We're going to drop in a couple of more pats of butter. Need some flour. And I just used maybe a half a cup in this bowl. I have got 4 chicken breasts. Actually, it was 2 very large chicken breasts, and I cut them in half. And I went ahead and I tenderized them, and then I let them soak in some water with baking soda in it for about 4 hours. This chicken was so tender, it melted in your mouth. So I highly suggest that you guys try that method because it just absolutely tenderizes the chicken. And you do want to make sure you wash the baking soda off of them. Now go ahead and just dip them in the flour, and we're going to put them in that butter. I will say this, go ahead and add about 4 pats of butter, maybe a couple tablespoons before you put the chicken in there, because I actually ended up adding more butter to this. Now we're just going to let these fry on each side for about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes until they're a pretty brown. Turn your stovetop eye on to medium, maybe just a little bit below medium when you're frying these. Now you'll need a 9x13 baking dish, and just put that to the side. Go ahead and oil that baking dish down with some olive oil, or you can use baking spray. And once these are pretty and brown, just go ahead and put them in the baking dish. Turn your stovetop eye on to low. You will need some chicken broth, and I'm just guessing you will use anywhere from 1.5 cups to 2 cups of chicken broth. Then you will need about 1 heaping tablespoon of flour and some cold water. It has to be cold water. Mix it really well. You can even use cornstarch for this if you want to, but I always just use flour and cold water. Then add that to your chicken broth. You can see my fur baby in the background. She thinks she's going to get some chicken, and she probably will. Now, this is my addition to the chicken Lombardy. I just want to add a little flavor because this is just what I do. I add salt and pepper to that roux, and then I also add a little bit of Cajun seasoning. And if you need a measurement, you can add anywhere from 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon, depending on how spicy you like things. But this, 1/2 teaspoon just gives it a little bit of flavor. Then you're just gonna pour this on the top of the chicken. And then I like to just swish it around a little bit in that baking dish to get it evenly coated. And now we are going to add the mushrooms, and you're just going to put those right on top of the chicken. Guys, this was so good. This is one of my favorites. And it's so easy to make. Now I have got some shredded mozzarella. This mozzarella I shredded myself, and I used I think it was about a cup and a half. You can do as much or as little as you want with the cheese. And now we're just going to add some Parmesan cheese on top of this. And just measure with your heart, guys. Throw it in the oven on 350 degrees for about 30 minutes until that cheese just looks all bubbly and brown and oh, so yummy. And voila, you're done. You will want to keep this recipe. It is absolutely delicious.